Well, good morning and welcome back to 5 Minutes to a Better Prayer Life. My kids watch a lot of Netflix, and the way they work is you've got season one with episode one, two, and three, and then season two, and sometimes they just binge watch a lot of these seasons, these old shows. But I'm kind of looking at it that way. So, season one was several episodes where I described the components of prayer and talked about how I've gone from ACTS, ACTS acronym, to the ABCs, and I've gone from 4 components to 12 components in prayer. Now we're in season two, and I want to begin to talk about that first component. And this is episode one of Ascribe, where we come to God and we give Him praise. The ACTS acronym actually begins the same way with what they call adoration, but it's the same thing where we're giving praise to God. We're telling Him of His worth. And I think that's just natural in so many different earthly human situations that we encounter in life. For instance, if you go into a courtroom, it will begin with all rise, and they introduce your honor, as she comes in or he comes in and he sits down as a judge. We want to acknowledge who's going to be the judge that day, and we all stand in reverence of that. We get that. That's ascribing to them a certain elevation and praise for their accomplishments and their authority as a judge. We do the same thing in the classroom. We refer to our teachers as Mr. or Mrs. because we want to honor and respect them. I remember when I was going to Harvard Christian School many years ago, my brother was actually my teacher for one of the grades that I was in. He was teaching me Bible, and I was called upon to pray that day, and I prayed my prayer for really sincerely for the class, and I prayed for my brother Wally to do a great job. Well, the class erupted in laughter. They never knew even that his name was Wally, and certainly to have someone in class call him Wally was a humorous thing. But I wasn't going to call my brother Mr. Webster. He probably would have liked me to have done that, but I wasn't going to do that. But the classroom is one of those places where there's a respect to the person who's in the room. We honor them. Certainly that's true in church too. We may call a person pastor, or in certain liturgical settings, reverend. I remember my mentor in ministry, George Anderson, he would never let anyone call him reverend, although he was in a United Methodist church where they typically called pastors reverends. He said, "You can't call me reverend because sometimes I'm reverend and sometimes I'm not." Oh, I love that honesty. I suppose that's true for all human positions of authority. Some judges are worthy of praise and some judges are not. Some teachers are your siblings and you dare not give them too much praise. You'd rather not give them too much credit. And some pastors, well, all pastors, right, we're human and we're not reverend all the time. But by great contrast, our God is always worthy of praise. That's why Jesus taught us to pray, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." We begin with praising Him. We introduce speakers this way. We'll say, "This speaker needs no introduction," and then we'll go on this lengthy discourse of all of his or her accolades. Publishers do this thing with books. If you look on the back flap of a book or the inside cover, you'll see all kinds of information about this particular author, all their accomplishments, all their education, and we're praising them, we're ascribing to them that we should read their book because they know what they're talking about. Honestly, I've never liked it when people gave me introductions in guest areas where I'm preaching because I don't like all the accolades to me and I feel uncomfortable with it. I'm much more comfortable with the arena of Celebrate Recovery. "Hi, I'm Tim, and I struggle with pride and lust. And I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ who's been redeemed and forgiven." And everyone in the Celebrate Recovery room says, "Hi, Tim." At funerals, we praise people, this deceased person. We say, "We're going to make a lot of fuss over them today." And it's legitimate that we do that. I did that at my mother's funeral as I paid her tribute and paid her honor, and I got to do the same thing with my dad's. But friends, listen, if we do that in all of these arenas, then shouldn't we give praise to God? Because He's the one who is always worthy of our praise. He is always worthy of our honor. He never fails us. He never lets us down. So I want to encourage us today to stick with season two as we learn how do we ascribe praise to God in our prayer life. And I hope it'll make us better at praying. God bless you. Have a great day.